So he posted on Instagram last month with no explanation this thing that it may have been some sort of healing crystals. There's a crystal Simsism. Healing crystals that I don't know what the hell that is. But whatever it is, that was the surprise yesterday that was right on the heels of Brian Daboll getting fired. Joe Burrow cleared to practice. It opens the 21-day window to determine whether or not he's back on the roster or he stays on season-ending IR. That's the risk of putting a guy back to practice. You got 21 days to either put him on the 53-man roster and create a roster spot for him, or he goes back to IR for the rest of the year. So, will he be back? He's been gone since week 2 when he suffered the toe injury. Here's Burrow from yesterday on his timetable for a potential return to action.
You talk to a lot of different people. You talk to people who've been through it. You have an understanding of what the injury is and what the repair is, and then you just talk about it critically with the doctor and the physical therapist and everybody involved, and you just kind of take it day by day, see how it goes, see how it feels. Yeah, we'll see how these next couple weeks go. There's a lot that goes into it. Like you said, there's a lot of variables that you have to consider, and we're just going to see how these next couple weeks go, see how it feels.
Everybody at NBC, I don't know if it's healing crystals, I don't know if it's a pet rock, a rabbit's foot, I don't know what, but I think we're all hoping for a Thanksgiving night return from Joe Burrow. All of a sudden, that Bengals-Ravens game that looked like, as of mid-October, complete and total caca, that is now Thanksgiving night, Bengals-Ravens, and it could be Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, and that would be something if we get that. And you know what, Devin, this just proves, and I know that I'm part of this, when there's an injury, we find out what the injury is, but I think there is a risk to putting too much stock in the initial timelines that are reported. I remember when J.J. McCarthy was first injured, 2 to 4 weeks was the Shefty report. And everybody was reporting that Burrow will be back mid-December at the earliest. At the earliest, mid-December. And I know that, how this works is they're just parroting what someone who is in a position to presumably know is telling them, but the person that's telling them doesn't know how the healing is going to go. So I think we all just need to factor that in. Let's not take these timelines that are spoon-fed to the insiders who then try to spoon-feed them to the rest of us as gospel truth, because nobody really knows. There's degrees, it's not a quick return, but sometimes it's going to take longer, and sometimes it's not. And maybe we are going to see Joe Burrow by Thanksgiving. And none of the people who were flat wrong about how long he was going to be out are going to come back and say, oops, my bad. What they'll say is, well, my source was wrong, because they clearly were wrong if he comes back Thanksgiving night.
It's interesting to me of when, again, who knows with the timetable, when even considering the timetable that once, because you just said it, once you open that window, if he's not ready, then you just activate him and you're willing to say, hey, we'll go without, a guy on the roster and we'll just keep it that way, which I think for the Bengals might make a lot of sense for them to say, you know what, we don't really care. This guy we feel like is good enough to start being back at practice. It makes no sense for us not to. Like, it's not like we're holding on and we're out here just dominating and killing. Like, if he can come and do something at practice, let's get him back. I also think this is good for the team. It's good to see when you have a guy like Joe Burrow, it's good to see him back out there on the practice field. He gets back in his environment of being at practice, laughing, joking with the guy. So I think this could be a part of it. I don't necessarily think it means that, hey, within these 21 days, this guy's going to be back on the field playing. I think they should be more cautious than, saying, hey, we're going to go out there and do this when you think about a guy like Joe Burrow. But maybe there's Jets fans who are like, hey, they're going out there. They got Flacco. He's been doing well. They want to see what Joe Burrow can do. And possibly, hey, this offseason we want to trade him to the New York Jets. That would make them excited. But I don't know. I think for Joe Burrow, I think he should just be patient. He shouldn't rush back out there and say, hey, I just want to be back out there if he's not ready. And I think this is a great sign for him, the ability to be out there Usually if you're out there, you can do individual. You can do so like for him to be able to be back out there, helmet on, doing something, that's a positive thing. And I would just say, hey, let's not go crazy and rush back out there.
Here he is on the thing that may be the magnet that is drawing him back. The reality that the Bengals are very much alive for the AFC North crown, despite the fact that they're 3-6. Here's what he had to say.
Yeah, our division is wide open. There's a lot of, I think Pittsburgh's 5-4 at this point. We play them this week. So, everything is still there in front of us. It's very rare that our division looks like this, but it does this year. And so, I think we'll be at least in it until the end.
Is it fair to say with the wild cards that the best path forward would be winning the North? And
I think it would be very difficult for us to be a wild card team at this point. Obviously, a lot of football to be played, but I think that's difficult. I think our best path would be win the division.
Yeah, he's made a very clear-eyed, self-aware assessment of the team. Look at where they are. They're 2 games behind the Ravens. They haven't played the Ravens yet, and they've already beaten the Steelers. So this is doable. This is more doable than the Vikings being one of the wild card teams in the NFC. I'll tell you that. Put the schedule up again, please. Look at what the Bengals have coming up. They have opportunities to continue to win games, even though it's been a while since they were 2-0. They're 1-6 since the first 2 weeks of the season. But they get a chance to sweep the Steelers. They get an opportunity at home against the Patriots to avenge one of the craziest outcomes last year when the Patriots got one of their few wins week 1 against the Bengals. And then you've got the Ravens twice in 3 weeks. The Bills are dipping right now. You finish with 3 winnable games. If they can sweep the Ravens, those are the set aside every other game. If you beat the Steelers, the Ravens, and the Ravens again, that may be enough. Especially since they should be able to beat the Dolphins, the Cardinals, and the Browns. That's 6 more wins, and I know they've only won 3 games. But if they can win the 6, and you can lose to the Patriots, you can lose to the Bills, but if you win the others, I think they win the division, Devin. I think they will. Right now, the Steelers are sinking, and, the Ravens are soaring, but if you sweep them, you catch them.
It's not out of the realm. And what I hate for this Bengals team is those other 2 games that we just talked, the other 2 games that they were on their schedule they lost. Losing to Chicago and losing to the Jets, we might be having a totally different conversation if they win those 2 games, because now they would kind of be almost in the driver's seat going forward when you look at the remainder of the schedule. But I think this is one of the things, as well as the Ravens have been playing, this is the scary thing when you don't win some of the games you feel like you should win, or you get off to a slow start, is there is a team like the Bengals, like there is the Pittsburgh, like all these teams in your division. It's not hard to go into a game and say, oh, like we're still playing well, but we slipped up and Burrow got hot and we lost to the Bengals twice this year. And that ultimately could be your demise because of where you started. And we think back to last year, Cincinnati lost 2 games to the Ravens where, their offense, it was a track meet up and down the field in both games. Jamar Chase had 275 yards in one of the games and 3 touchdowns. So it's not like this is this crazy thought for the Bengals to say, hey, if we get Burrow back, we can go and we can win some games. And it's not crazy for them to feel like right now, these next 2 weeks, that he definitely won't be out there probably. It's not crazy for them to say, hey, we can go beat the Steelers and we could go beat the Patriots because of the way Flacco's been playing. They need about 2 stops. The way they've been playing on offense, 2 stops in a game would probably win them some games. So I think Burrow coming back, I'm going to say it again, I think it gives this team life and inspires them. And I think his thought is, if I can get these guys going and we can steal 2 out of the next 3 or something, now we're really in business.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.